If you don't want to see a guy exploding an airbag into his own face, I suggest you look away now, but please remember to subscribe to the channel. We've got loads more content on its way. Best to roll the titles. In the first video, when we started the car for the first time, we had loads and loads of fault codes on the dashboard, and they all pointed towards one of the back lights. We worked it out to be this side. I'm now going to take this out and find out what the fault is and mend it, which should hopefully be a simple job, but you never know. Once I managed to get that light out, it was obvious that the bulb holder had a faulty earth pin, which was throwing up all those fault lights on the dashboard. So we're off down to the breaker's yard now to see if we can find some parts to make this car work properly. This is my local breaker's yard. As you can see there's a red C3. We're going to take some parts off that. There's quite a lot of Peugeots as well. The parts are common across these two cars. The Peugeot 206 and the C3 used a lot of similar parts. We're going to try and improve the seating in the C3 by taking some out of a 206. Right, we're in my favourite breaker's yard. I'm trying to get these seats out to improve the C3 because this is a Peugeot 307. And they've got much nicer seats. They're a bit mouldy, but we're going to clean all that up and make it look good. So we're taking out these seats. They're a bit more buckety. All the airbag and the sensors for the seat all fit in this little this bit of plastic under here, which I'm going to have to remove. I've measured the seat runners in this car, and they're the same as the seat runners, so this should bolt straight into the Citroen C3. The important thing with these seats is you've got to plug the airbags back in, because the seats have airbags and they also have sensors to detect whether anybody's sitting in them. So the most important thing to do is when you plug them back into the Citroen, they work straight away. Otherwise you're going to get dashboard faults, you're going to get an airbag light on the dashboard. I'm just going to cut that to the floor. After the airbags are still active. Have an airbag go off in your face. We've got Alexander on cameras today. Let's say hello, Alexander.
Hi.
It's his first time down in the scrapyard. So he's learning how to take cars apart, which his mother will be very pleased at. So if you want to do this modification at home, you need a Torx-head screwdriver or a ratchet with a Torx thing on the end. Right? This car is actually horrible inside.
God, that steering wheel is mouldy. Look at that.
Shane, that's a nice leather steering wheel. There's 25 pence in there if you want it, Alexander.
I'm good.
Well, I'm having it then. So we're going to take the original seats out, we're going to put some new seats in. This is one of the seats that we're going to put into the little C3. It's out of a Peugeot 207, obviously manufacturer is the same, hopefully a lot of the fixings and fittings are going to be the same. I know the wiring does differ slightly because the 207 is a newer platform, but hopefully we'll be able to bodge or modify to make that work properly. It's a bit scabby, we'll give it a clean after it's gone in. I need to put it in basically and use the car. So after waiting half an hour for the airbags to discharge, I've started to remove the seat. Now there's 4 of these, I hold the runners in. You remove those. So the bolts are removed from the seat. As you can see, when you pull the seat up a little bit, this cable here comes out of the floor. Now these wires work the airbag, which is in the side of the seat. They also work the seatbelt pre-tensioner, which goes under there, and the seatbelt warning if you don't wear your seatbelt. They connect up to that blue plug there, and we're going to leave all of that intact when we change the seat. Now the green one is the airbag. It's only 3 wires. It's a different connector on the new seat than it is on the old one, but I've worked it out already and it's actually quite simple to do. You make sure the power's off, make sure the battery is disconnected, and then we're going to go from there. I'm going to start taking out some of these pebble ties on here. That's because we're going to remove the cables from the seat. We're going to have to remove the seat belt, and this is how we proceed. Right, on the new seat, this is the replacement one out of the 207. The first thing we need to do is remove the seat belt, because we're going to actually change the seat belt with the original one in the car. So the one on the car has got a pre-tensioner and it's also got the same connector, so we just reconnect as it was before. The original seats on the C3 have got this, which is a seatbelt pretensioner, which is basically an explosive charge, which in the event of an accident detonates, pulls this cable tight, and saves you from bashing your head on the dashboard. Now we're going to reinstall these into the new seats, which is basically a case of unbolting that. We're going to rebolt it into the new seat. There is a little locator hole here, which I'm going to have to drill in the new seat. Apart from that, it's a very simple process, and it comes off with these two cables into that blue connector. The last thing to do before we throw the seats in the bin is we need a little bit of this harness. That's the green connector for the airbag in the side of the seat, and we need to take a little bit of that off so we can reconnect to the new seats. Underneath the seat, all the cables have now been tie wrapped, cable tied away. And don't forget, most important thing when you're doing cable tying is chop the ends off, because it's really unprofessional not to, like so. Always finish the job properly. So the final thing, of course, is make sure your bolts are nice and tight. These are things that are very important for safety and all the other reasons. And then we have to sit in it and dry it, really. So the finished product looks a bit like this. I don't know why Citroen put such rubbish seats in the car in the first place, but there we go. Definitely more comfy, definitely more stylish looking. Just need a bit of a clean. They are actually filthy. They've been sat in the scrapyard for several weeks before I got to them. Now this is the car that we've been using as a donut. We've taken loads of parts off this car. It's a shame it's not black, but I'm going to take a horn off now because it's broken in the accident. Oh, bum. The wrong size spanner. Alright, stop filming. Pass me a spanner.
What are you doing?
I'm taking the horn off this car.
Well, you're supposed to say it in the video.
I'm going to dub it over later.
Alright.
The horn got damaged in the accident. It's down below, underneath the headlight. That's why I've got to take the front off. I'll tell you what, I did have the right one to start with.
Oh, you...
Right, next thing I need is a door rubber. My door rubbers have got great big holes in them. That's not too bad. There's a door rubber. Well, this is the part of the video where I speed the action up to 3 times to make it look like I work really, really quickly, and you can watch me changing the wheels extra fast. I'd love to work this fast in real life, because this project would have been finished months ago. Gotta say a big thank you to the guy I bought these wheels from. Straight off eBay, straight onto the car, knew they were the right fittings, and they work out really nicely. I really like these wheels, although I get a lot of stick off my friends for these wheels. Our friendly postman brought me a parcel this morning. I've no idea what it is. It's going to be a bit of a surprise when I unwrap it. So there's a couple of parts that have been eluding me on the Citroen. One of them is this. We know what it is really, don't we? It's a wing for the passenger side of the C3. We've been driving around with a dented one for a long time. So I'm going to unbox that. Hopefully it's the right colour. Who knows? At last I've managed to get myself a wing for this car, and it's probably one of the easiest wings you could ever take off a car. I've removed all the underliner and taken off the bumper where that joins. The only thing, because Citroen are crazy French dudes, there's a rivet holding it on and it's virtually impossible to get to. Apart from that, this is the easiest wing ever to take off. So this is the new wing roughly in place. There was a little bit of a dent there, which we put a bit of heat on it and we pushed it back out very gently from the other side, and it's a little bit better than it was. Seriously, it's raining again. So despite all the terrible weather, I've actually managed to make a little bit of progress on the Citroen C3. I'd almost say it was finished. Managed to change the wing. We've got new wheels on it. It's had a service, it's had a cam belt. Most of the things, managed to change the seats as well. So I've got this new steering wheel to fit. It's a leather one, much nicer than the existing one. Same size, very easy to do. The airbag comes out. So if you don't want to see a man exploding an airbag into his face, it's probably best to look away at this point. Do like and subscribe to the channel. Lots more videos. There's this one, we've got the Alfa Romeo, we've got my progress on the XC90 as well. Got to say, I'm really pleased with that now. That's got new seats, steering wheel. And that, I would say, is the project Citroen done. I've done 3,000 miles on this car. So project number one, out the way. It's time to get working on the Alfa Romeo, I think.